In a crumbling manor on the windswept Yorkshire moors, young Thomas Carver, barely 21, stood trembling at an altar draped in faded lace, forced to wed Lady Eleanor Grayson, a widow 30 years his senior, her piercing gaze as cold as the debts that shackled his family to her fortune, while in the shadows, a secret waited to unravel their union and rewrite their fates in ways no one could foresee. Dear readers across the Atlantic, from the vibrant pulse of Chicago to the misty streets of London, if this tale of coerced vows, hidden truths, and breathtaking twists hooks you, smash that subscribe button now. Join thousands who crave stories that grip the heart and defy expectation. Don't miss out. Subscribe today and plunge into this saga of love and betrayal. The year was 1892, and Thomas Carver, a blacksmith's son from the rugged hills of northern England, had never known wealth, only the clang of hammer on anvil and the weight of his father's mounting debts to the Grayson estate. The Carver's modest forge, nestled in the village of Blackthorn Vale, had once thrived, crafting tools for farmers and horseshoes for the gentry's steeds, but a string of failed harvests and his father's penchant for gambling had bled them dry. Lady Eleanor Grayson, a reclusive widow of 51, ruled the Vale from her decaying manor, her fortune built on wool and tenant rents, her heart hardened by a loveless first marriage to a cruel baron who left her childless but immensely rich. When the Carvers' debts reached a breaking point, £2,000, an unimaginable sum, Eleanor's steward delivered an ultimatum. Thomas would marry her, securing her legacy and erasing the debt, or the family would face ruin, their forge seized, and his ailing mother and younger siblings cast to the poorhouse. Thomas, broad-shouldered and earnest, with eyes like the summer sky, pleaded for another way, but his father, broken by shame, signed the contract, whispering, "It's for us all, lad." The village buzzed with scandal, old women muttering of witchcraft, young maids envying the lad's rise, none suspecting the twists that lay ahead. The wedding was a grim affair, held in the manor's drafty chapel, attended by grim-faced tenants and Eleanor's dour steward, Mr. Finch, whose thin lips curled as if he knew secrets the couple did not. Eleanor, regal in black velvet despite the occasion, spoke her vows with a voice like polished steel, while Thomas choked on his dreams of marrying sweet Clara, the baker's daughter, dissolving like mist. That night, in the cavernous bedchamber, Eleanor surprised him, not with demands of intimacy, but with a blunt declaration: "This is no love match, boy. You're here to play a part. Do it well, and you'll want for nothing." Bewildered, Thomas nodded, sensing a game he couldn't yet fathom. Days turned to weeks, and life in the manor was a labyrinth of contradictions. Eleanor was stern yet fair, teaching him to read ledgers, ride her prized stallions, and navigate the politics of the gentry, her sharp wit cutting through his rustic manners. She was no frail widow. Her vitality belied her years, her silver hair framing a face still striking, though lined with grief. Thomas, torn between resentment and curiosity, began to see her not as a captor but a puzzle. The manor, however, whispered of darker truths. Servants spoke of locked rooms in the East Wing, of Eleanor's late husband's mysterious death, and of a hidden fortune in gold rumored to be buried beneath the estate. One night, unable to sleep, Thomas crept downstairs, drawn by faint scratching from the library. There, he found Eleanor burning letters, her hands trembling as she muttered names he didn't recognize: Ambrose, Beatrice, Victor. When he confronted her, she snapped, "Some secrets are worth more than your life, boy. Stay out of it." But the spark of defiance in him grew, fueled by a letter he found tucked in a book, penned in a frantic hand. "Eleanor, they know what we did. Flee before it's too late." The first twist came with a visitor. Clara, his lost love, now a governess in a neighboring estate, arrived under the guise of delivering books. Her presence rekindled Thomas's longing, but her eyes held fear, not affection. She whispered of rumors. Eleanor had poisoned her first husband, Baron Grayson, to seize his wealth, and the village believed Thomas was next, a pawn to secure her legitimacy before she disposed of him. Clara begged him to flee, but as they spoke, Finch overheard, his sly grin promising trouble. That night, Eleanor summoned Thomas, her face pale. "You think me a monster," she said, "but you don't know the half of it." She revealed a staggering truth. She hadn't killed the Baron. He'd died by his own hand, driven mad by debts and a scandal involving his mistress, Beatrice, who vanished with a child Eleanor believed was his heir. The marriage to Thomas was a shield, meant to deter fortune hunters seeking the rumored gold, which she swore didn't exist. But Finch, she confessed, was blackmailing her, claiming to know the child's whereabouts and threatening to expose her as a murderess unless she paid him. Thomas, torn between distrust and a strange loyalty, vowed to help, sensing Eleanor's vulnerability beneath her iron facade. Together, they hatched a plan to trap Finch, staging a false discovery of the gold in the manor's cellars. The trap worked. Finch, greedy and overconfident, was caught digging, but not before he revealed a second twist. Beatrice's child, a girl named Lily, was alive, hidden in an orphanage in Leeds, and Finch had been siphoning Eleanor's wealth to keep her silent. Enraged, Eleanor banished Finch, but the revelation shattered her. Lily was her niece, not the Baron's, born to Eleanor's sister who died in disgrace. Thomas, now seeing Eleanor's pain as a mirror to his own family's struggles, urged her to find Lily. Their journey to Leeds was fraught with danger. Finch, vengeful, sent thugs to ambush them, but Thomas's strength and Eleanor's cunning saw them through, their bond deepening into something neither dared name. In the orphanage, they found Lily, a frail girl of 12 with Eleanor's fierce eyes, but a final twist awaited. Lily's guardian, a corrupt matron, demanded a fortune to release her, claiming Lily was the key to the real gold, hidden not in the manor, but in a London bank under Beatrice's name. Eleanor, drained of funds, faced ruin, but Thomas, now her equal in resolve, sold the forge he'd inherited, freeing Lily and securing their future. Back in Blackthorn Vale, the manor transformed. Lily's laughter filled its halls, and Thomas, no longer a pawn but a partner, stood beside Eleanor, their age gap irrelevant in the face of shared trials. Clara, seeing his choice, blessed him with a tearful farewell, while the village, once scandalized, now whispered of miracles. Eleanor's wealth dwindled, but her heart grew, and Thomas, once forced into chains, found freedom in a family forged by choice. Years later, as they tended the manor's gardens, Lily playing nearby, a letter arrived, a distant cousin of the Baron's, offering peace and partnership. The past, it seemed, had one last twist, but Thomas and Eleanor, hand in hand, faced it as they had all else. Together, unbreakable, their love a quiet rebellion against a world that tried to define them.